Welcome to the Prophecy Club. 5 questions today, all having to do with surveillance, tracking, data centers, digital, dollars, and our communications. First, we're going to start with the big question, why track people? Why is it important to track people? Why bother them? Why to go to the expense of tracking people? Well, there's a very good reason. This was said by Edward Snowden. He said, saying you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide, that's kind of us. Us Christians, we kind of like don't have anything to hide, so this kind of fits us. Because you have nothing to hide, it's like saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. In other words, maybe even though we don't have anything to hide, maybe that's not the right attitude. And maybe that's going to get us in trouble. So, during the times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. Who said that? George Orwell. So, let's get to it. So, the first thing I want to cover is a couple of quotes, as you can tell. There is coming a day when freedom will just be an essence of the mind, an inner dwelling that was once physically attainable. But they will tell you where you can live, what you can wear and drive, what and how much you can eat and drink, and how to purchase those. They will strip you of your religion, race, gender, national origin, age, color, creed, views, power, and have control of the entire population. They will set in a new world order and put you in the back of the line, marked and branded. Everything before will be erased, and the new will be simply manipulated. And what you believe the most can only be kept secret, for all must fall in line with their governed. Anything outside will be abolished, even death will be sought, but restraint, that's Bible prophecy. They will execute complete and total control over everything and be sole owners of your soul. The light that once guided will go dim. Liberty will be like an unwilled bird, suppressed in the cage of your ribs, wings cut off. Here's another one. We had spiritually marked ourselves. This marking began when the counterculture of political correctness began, and the assault on Christian values and traditions began. At first, it just seemed so ridiculous that it was harmless, kind of like a disease to which we were all immune. Soon, however, it was recolored to equal compassion, fairness, acceptance, tolerance, and equality. From there, it evolved into a power with the ability to take the truth and repaint it as a lie, to take any lie and relabel it as truth. A lot of truth in that, huh? Okay, so what's wrong with tracking people? Well, actually, there's some good things. For example, if you could track every person doing everything, you can find criminals a little faster, solve crimes a little faster and easier. You can also sometimes be able to prove the innocent was innocent and the guilty was guilty a little bit more easily and effectively. Also, the emergency services, ambulance, things like that, can find you in an emergency easier. But there's some bad things too. The bad things being, well, they'll be able to find the Christians that avoid the mark of the beast. It's a loss of privacy, and sometimes we want to live with our privacy. Okay, so why build the data centers? Good question. $50 billion annualized rate as of April 2026 is now driven primarily by Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. Oh, those are all wonderful, good companies. Okay, well, I went to their AI, this is Google AI, and asked the question, what will data centers track? The answer? Everything. Metrics across energy, hardware, cooling, and artificial intelligence, performance, skipping down. Absolutely, it will track everything. It will process massive amounts of location data. Went on to ask another question, will they track financial transactions? It says process long and log every transaction you make. It'll verify card balances, approve swipes, and log purchase histories. Again, there's some good things to it. But the problem is there's also some bad things. You remember the movie Minority Report, where they started arresting people before they'd even done anything? Well, the new report says the FBI seeks AI for political watch list. What? Documents show that the FBI is seeking AI tools to flag Americans, look at this, before they act. As the terror watch list focus moves toward domestic dissent, the article goes on to say, the FBI office in charge of maintaining the terrorist watch list is seeking an artificial intelligence system for, here it is, pre-crime policing. According to the procurement documents obtained by Reason, the quest for information for vendors posted by the FBI's procurement division in March solicits potential bidders for a project that would be supercharge the threat screening center with a new predictive AI capabilities. So now they're getting close to arresting people that haven't done anything yet. The solution must leverage existing enterprise databases that include enriched or enhanced data elements with documented source attribution to develop predictive models. In other words, they're going to use a computer to arrest you, say, we predict you're going to do something. So you're getting arrested now. Skipping down, predictive modeling, using enhanced data with traceable lineage. In other words, with all the information we've come up with, you're a bad guy. You're going to get arrested. In other words, the TSC wants to use AI to help predict who might be a terrorist, or in our case, predict who just might be a Christian, even though we can't prove it yet. Another article says, are data centers becoming mass surveillance tools? The answer is yes. Everyone loves to dunk on data centers for driving up the electric bill, but that's not the problem. The least scary thing. The new report argues that these server warehouses are becoming back end of mass surveillance. Skipping down, mass surveillance has quietly become normal while most of us look the other way. I am amazed, even though I like Trump, and I think he's honestly trying to do the right thing. I'm amazed that he supports these data centers so much. And I'm also amazed that there's not already been some laws out limiting, putting at least some guide rails on what they're doing. Same thing, some guide rails on the AI. You remember here, 2, 3, 4 years ago, there were several articles coming out where people in the AI business were warning about how bad AI could become and that we needed to pass laws, we need to put up guardrails, need to put a fence around it, and no fence was put around it. So the article goes on to say how your data gets stitched together. Now here's what it's going to say. It's going to say that right now your data is not stitched together, and I'm going to explain that. But what data centers will do is stitch it together. Your digital life is scattered on purpose. Your bank sees your spending. Your phone tracks your location. Your streaming apps know what you watch on TV and the internet. None of them talk to each other. Well, I'm not exactly agreeing with that. I think they're already talking to each other. That fragmentation is the only thing protecting you, in other words, giving you privacy. No single company or agency holds the full picture. Yet. AI inside these data centers is what ends that fragmentation. I agree. Feed every search, purchase, message, face scan into one system, and no human has to watch a screen. The machine flags you, rates your risk. See, that's what the article said. The other one. Rates your risk and predicts what you'll do next. This is a different article. The infrastructure already exists. This is not science fiction. A March 2025 executive order told federal agencies that they have to share data and eliminate information silos. In other words, can't have just information here. You got to share information every place. Isn't that wonderful? Software from analytics firm Palantir, I think is how you say it. But this is a big company. It's a fairly new company, but this is massive. Already runs inside DHS, the IRS, and ICE. Now, it's not just the U.S. it's also Canada. And matter of fact, most of the world is heading toward this. Even UK blocked a VPN ad for criticizing its own surveillance laws. I've had some experience. I have to be careful because AI is watching me. Matter of fact, I debate whether I share all of this, but I started asking questions of AI last night, and I spent over an hour asking it questions, and it knew who I was. It knew what ministry I was connected with. It knew what I had been saying through that ministry. And there were several times when I would ask it a question, thinking it didn't know something about me or our ministry. Oh, yes, it did. Oh, yes, they knew who I am. They knew they knew who Spirit of Prophecy is. Look, they know you. And it's not like, oh, well, Google AI is different from Grok. Now, I know my son tries to tell me it's different than Claude, it's different than. I think if it's not already linked, it's going to one day be all linked together. So, as Edward Snowden said, I already said this, saying you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is like saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. In other words, the day is going to come when you care about it. He says you can't tear down the data centers, but you can control how much of your life feeds them. Okay, let's talk about that. Many apps these days want a second form of access. So I got this email that said, you haven't logged on to your television app. And I thought, no, because I don't want to log on to my television app. So I thought, okay, Leslie says, there's nothing on, see if you can find something. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll try one of these television apps. Guess what it wanted? It wanted me to, with my cell phone, scan the QR code. That means that my cell phone is linked to what I watch on TV. I didn't do it. Linking your cell phone to them, all part of it. Grocery store, go there. Have you been there lately? They want your phone number. Now, they don't demand it, but if you have a phone number, if you're connected to them, they'll give you a little bit of a discount. Okay, so here's PayPal. I just tried to log on here. I don't know, this is like 30 days ago. And now it wants me to give them my face or my fingerprint in order to log on. Okay, if PayPal's doing it, guess what? Your bank is next. Guess what? Your car, your cell phone. On a cell phone, how many of you have to enter a code in your cell phone to access your cell phone? Not me. But you can do face recognition. I understand, I don't, that you can do touch with your finger. All of this is so that they know. Matter of fact, another thing I see on here, they want me to log on when I go to search something in Google or Gmail. They want to tie my Gmail account to my Google. Well, I don't log on to Google. I have to log on to Gmail, but that's just my throwaway. I have a throwaway email for all the garbage, So somebody makes me give them an email. I don't want to get any more emails or being tracked from them. I give them my throwaway Gmail address. Anyway, so I'm only saying they're getting really close to tracking us. Here's another article. Electronic Frontier Foundation says the U.S. government, with assistance from major telecommunications carriers, including AT&T, has engaged in massive illegal dragnet surveillance of the domestic communications and communications records of millions of ordinary Americans since all the way back to 2001. One might say, yeah, well, they already know it. Why fight them on it? Well, here's another thing. Like when Leslie had to have a laptop, her laptop died. She makes all kinds of talks at the church and everything, and so it's not just a toy. She needs to have a laptop. So we went to Best Buy. We found a laptop as cheaply as we could, but would still do the job. We got assistance from our two sons, techie experts. And when I went to check out, it wanted me to sign the little square down there. I don't sign it. I won't tell you what symbol I put there, but there's not a computer that has my real signature in it, I think. I do my best to keep that. I try to stay out of their computers, out of their tracking, period. Every place, every place. News reports in December of 2005, skipping down, has been intercepting Americans' phone calls and internet communications, skipping down. The NSA is also receiving wholesale copies of America's telephone and other communications records. Lots of places say they're tracking us. Again, tracking us today might not be a bad thing, but tracking us one day soon, is going to be real bad. Here's another example. The EFF obtained whistleblower evidence. In other words, they don't want you to know about it. A former AT&T technician says, guess what? That AT&T installed a fiber optic splitter at its facility, and guess what? It's making copies of all the emails, web browsing. Look, it's not just AT&T. It's all of them out there. They know everything about us, and it's all tied into these AI computers, the quantum computers. Reading the last line, this isn't a wiretap. It's a country tap. Secret government documents published by the media in 2013 confirm the NSA obtains full copies of everything that is carried along major domestic fiber optic cable networks. They got it all. Why do they want it? Oh, so we can send you targeted ads. No. I mean, you do. I don't want the ads, but that's not the objective. So why track financial transactions? Well, you remember Kissinger said, who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy supply can control whole continents, but who controls money can control the world. Why do they want to control the world? Why does the devil want to control the whole world so that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name? Revelation 13:7, no man might buy or sell. That's where this is all. And now we know that. But what I'm trying to point out is it's a lot closer and it's a lot more dangerous than what we think. So I recommend you get my book, Miss the Mark. Why? This is a simple book. You can read through it in a couple of hours. And it's designed to give to someone that's not a Christian. Maybe they worship some other God. Maybe they haven't heard of the Mark of the Beast. And it's designed where if you can get them just read a few pages, they will probably finish the book. If they finish the book, they'll probably become a Christian. But one thing for sure, it shows them what the Mark of the Beast and the number of his name look like. And they will never take the Mark of the Beast. So why monitor all our communications, everything going through the air or through a wire? Why do that? Jeremiah 16:16 says, behold, I will send many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them. Who's talking about? Well, it's talking about the sinners that have not received the mark of the beast yet. They shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes in the rocks. Here's another one. They hunt our steps. Now, this is the sinners talking about hunting the Christians of their day. This is back in Lamentations. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled. Our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. They're going to be hunting for people that won't worship the beast, won't receive his mark. So why track movements such as cell phone, car, air flight? You know they track. I mean, I remember the day when you could go to the airport, not show your driver's license, pay cash for a ticket, get on a plane, and fly any place you want to. Nobody asked your name. Nobody asked to see your driver's license. I remember it was about 1997 or 1998 somewhere. We had a speaker. Just to keep it simple, we had all of the speakers every month, and we bought them tickets. You know, we were having meetings at one time, 40 meetings in a month. And I just had the girl just put all the tickets in my name. Didn't make a difference at the time. Well, she showed up at the airport. She was coming. I remember who it was. I won't say her name. But she had to buy a ticket to come because they had changed it where they had to see the driver's license. So, yeah, they want to track everything, every person, everything we do. Revelation 13:16, you're familiar with it. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, receive a mark on the right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for as the number of a man, his number is 666. We believe that's what the mark of the beast will look like. Now, it might not be exactly like that, but by looking at that, take just a minute and let that burn into your memory, because by looking at that and remembering that, when the mark of the beast comes out, you'll be able to spot it and say, okay, maybe it's a little different, but I know what that is immediately, and you'll not take it. That might be the place it's located. That's what Ken Peters saw, something very similar to that, very similar to that. This is what we believe will be the number of his name. Now, it probably won't have a snake head in the middle of it, and it probably won't have a pointy tail. Probably it'll be looking something, maybe in that ballpark, or maybe in that ballpark. This is the Miami airport. You can see, do you think that's subtle? They put it on child's toys. They put it in child cartoons. They put it every place. Probably this company doesn't think that's bad, and I can't prove that that's bad. Maybe it's just a nice decoration for them. Maybe it's just a decoration, but if it's just a decoration, how come we find it in so many places? Now look at this small print. See where it says manhole cover, Denver, Colorado? Look right under the word cover. About an inch under that, do you see those 3666? Why 3? Why not 4? Why not the whole thing? What about this? Is that an accident? How about this one? I actually took this picture here. A lady in the mall, I said, can I take your picture? She said, yeah. Didn't know why. But see, it's every place. So my guess is, that's a guess, it probably is the mark of the beast. Every place, all over. Once you see that, you start seeing it every place. So, very good thing to have be some gold and silver. 800-200 gold, especially if you have an IRA 401k. You just saw your IRA and 401k. Look, the stock market goes down. We've had many prophecies saying the stock market's going to fall, some event. Remember, Brandon Biggs said some event is going to cause the stock market to crash like worse than it was in 1929. If you have an IRA or 401k, I can't give financial advice, but you owe it to yourself. Look, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything. Call them. 800-200 gold. They're Christians. Say, hey, here's my situation, and see if they have some good advice for you. And if they don't, then that's fine. Maybe you're fine. Maybe you don't need anything. Maybe you do. Phone call won't hurt. 800-200 gold. 800-200 gold. Am I okay? Call them and ask them. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from empshield.com. empshield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps Prophecy Club.